أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. إنا أعطيناك الكوثر فصل لربك وانحر إن شانئك هو الأبتر. صدق الله العلي العليم.
I remember the Prophet and his family, and the things that the Prophet did and the struggles that he took to become the Prophet and lead all these people in this way.
When I hear Hazrat Zahra's name, I feel like trying to defend something, trying to defend your religion, like always doing the good thing and like risking your life for the right thing.
I kind of remember the Prophet and Imam Ali and Imam Hassan because they were all a big group, a family. When I think about Hazrat Zahra, I think about Prophet Muhammad because he was her father.
The first thing that I think about Hazrat Zahra is about the Imams and how she sacrificed like all of her life for Islam, how she dedicated her life to Islam.
I think about Prophet Muhammad and all the struggle he had, and the people then believed that he was God's messenger, and people bothered him a lot and all.
When I hear Hazrat Zahra's name, I think of a woman in Islam who was pious and truthful and helped a lot of people.
When I think of Hazrat Fatemeh's name, I think of the events that happened in Fatemeh, how after the Prophet died, Fadak was given to Hazrat Fatemeh, but unfortunately it was taken away, and when she tried to receive it back, she couldn't, and it was just a really corrupt time, which Hazrat Fatemeh was betrayed really badly.
Stories of Hazrat Fatemeh.
When I think of Hazrat Fatemeh Zahra, I think of like how women truly did have a say in it, and she was living proof of that. She showed that hey, men aren't like the dominant gender, or they don't have the final say in everything. And I mean, it's amazing to me seeing like how much of an influence she had as a woman.
Well, I think about how she was the best of all women and how she's the best role model, not just for women, but also for men. And how gracious, pious, caring, and how much she would promote equality. And promoting equality is one of the most important things in Islam, especially in between like children, how she was very, very, like she treated her children equal. And also, we can't forget at the point how she was the only daughter of the Prophet.
She's Sayyidatun Nisa al-Alameen, woman of all the worlds. I also think about how much patience she had, so that she had to go through all that hardship, but she still persevered to the very end. So, yeah, and she's a role model for all women in the world.
When I think of Hazrat Fatemeh Zahra, I think of the greatest woman that ever lived in the world. Fearless.
Strength.
Dedication. Amazing.
She's a role model for mankind. Caring.
Fatemeh Zahra alayhi salam, one of the reasons that makes her to be special as a daughter to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam is what the Prophet himself said about her. As you know, one of her name is Abiha, that she has dedicated her life in taking care of the Prophet, in playing the role of the mother in the life of her father. That the role that the mother of Prophet supposed to play when the Prophet was born, and she died very quick. So Zahra alayhi salam, she took that place, and that is why she's known as Abiha. That is one of the things that makes her special in that regards. But what made her special as a wife is also to be a wife of a person like Imam Ali alayhi salam, who was known as #1 person after the Holy Prophet. That the Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam always mentioned they are the sole partners that Allah ever created to be for one another. Even the Prophet, when you look at them, there is no hadith that Allah ever said that we created this woman solely for this person, or this person for this special woman. No. But Zahra alayhi salam, she is the only woman that the hadith mentioned that Allah created her just for Imam Ali alayhi salam, and created Imam Ali for her as well. So that is what makes her special in that part. But what makes her also to be as special as a mother is that of being a mother of Imam Hassan and Hussein alayhim salam. That also is a very, very big honor that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given to her, that not only she was the mother of Imam, she's the mother of 2 Imams. We in the history, we don't have that. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given any mother that priority to carry 2 Imams at the same time. When you come to Imam Ali, he was the only Imam that his mother carried. You come to Imam Zayn al-Abidin, he was the only Imam that his mother carried. All the Imams. But Allah gave Zahra alayhi salam that privilege that she carried 2 Imams at the same time. So she is the mother of these 2 personalities, and that made her to be a great mother in that sense.
آمده آن کس که سینه اش بهشت احمد بود، گل همیشه بهاری باغ محمد بود، گل همیشه بهاری باغ محمد بود. آمده آن کس که سینه اش بهشت احمد بود، گل همیشه بهاری باغ محمد بود، گل همیشه بهاری باغ محمد بود. نور جلی یار علی هستی حیدر آمد، نور جلی یار علی هستی حیدر آمد. ماه عالمین آمد، مادر حسین آمد، ماه عالمین آمد، مادر حسین آمد.
There are many things we all can learn from Zahra alayhi salam, and that is one thing that I want to emphasize. Number 1, that for men and women, usually especially people like me and you who live in this part of the world, we always try to make an excuse that it's very hard to be a religious in this part of the world. There's a lot of bad things, there's a lot of challenges. But when you compare to our challenges of today and the challenges that the Zahra alayhi salam lived during her lifetime, they are not less than what she went through. As a matter of fact, we can say she went through a lot more than we are facing today. But despite that difficulties, challenges, she was able to maintain herself and become a role model for all men and women in the world. And that is one of the lessons we have to learn. That don't make that excuse that, no, this time is too hard, or this place is very hard to become a good Muslim. You and I can if we follow the steps of Zahra alayhi salam. That is number one. Number two, another lesson we can learn from Zahra alayhi salam, and that is to learn how Zahra was given in her life. She was known as to be a woman who always gives. To the point where even the Prophet ﷺ always sent people to her house when somebody comes begging and asking something. When people will come to the Prophet, they ask, none of the companions have something to give. And then the Prophet will tell them, go to Zahra's house, because it's the house that nobody goes there and comes and leaves with empty-handed. Zahra was that example. And you can see Quran confirms that in Surah Al-Dahr, وَيُطْعِمُونَ الطَّعَامَ عَلَى حُبِّهِ مِسْكِينًا وَيَتِيمًا وَأَسِيرًا. Quran confirms they were given 3 full days, one after the other, when people come asking them. That is one of the lessons we can learn from Zahra, to learn to give others, to share with others what we have. That is lesson number 2. Lesson number 3, which is also related to this lesson number 2, and that is when we give, what should we give? Usually you and I, when we give something as a sadaqah, we always give what? The worst of what we have. Things we don't like. Things we are not longer need in our life. That is what we usually give. But Zahra alayhi salam, when she gives the best of what she has. And that is the lesson we should learn from Zahra. That always when you give somebody something, don't give things that you are not longer needing, you are not longer going to use them. That is the reason why you're giving. Because Zahra alayhi salam, she set this standard that anytime somebody comes asking something, she always gave the best of what she had. And as the narrations mention, she gave her wedding dress, which is so important to every woman. And when the Prophet asked her, she quoted this ayah, لَن تَنَالُوا الْبِرَّ حَتَّى تُنْفِقُوا مِمَّا تُحِبُّونَ. You cannot get good from Allah unless you give the best of what you have. That is another lesson that we can also learn from Zahra alayhi salam. That is lesson number 3. Lesson number 4 is also to learn to make dua for others from Zahra alayhi salam. Usually, most of us, including many mu'mineen, when we make dua, we always remember ourselves and our families, forgetting other people. And you can see that even Maryam, Asiya bint Muzahim in the Quran, when she makes dua, even though it's not a bad thing, but she was mentioning herself. Rabbi ibn li indaka baytan. Allah build for me a house at your side. وَنَجِّنِي, protect me min al-qawm al-zalimin. وَنَجِّنِي min Fir'aun. All her question was about herself, nothing about anybody else. But when you come to Zahra alayhi salam, when she makes dua, herself is not in the picture. Who she makes dua for? She will make dua for everyone. Mu'mineen, women and men. She will make dua for Shia of the Imam Ali alayhi salam, but nothing about herself. And that is a very important lesson we can learn. And you can see this, that even this is mentioned in Salat al-Layl, that before you make dua for yourself, make dua for 40 mu'mineen. But Zahra alayhi salam, she has educated us in this, in her life, that always remember to pray for other mu'mineen, inshaAllah. Walhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen.
You could give her flowers or even more special things, but usually I give flowers or I make stuff for her, like little frames of our pictures in it.
Doing what she says. A card or just something that makes this special to you.
Love and love.
Be nicer.
يا ابن زهرا بيا 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 يا ابن زهرا بيا 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 يا ابن زهرا بيا بيا